final turn of the second last lap, just before the bell lap. I was in a great position, and dreams of getting a podium today were really good. In fact, my teammate was in second wheel, I'm in fourth, and we're about to go into the bell lap when suddenly this guy throws in an attack on the left hand side, absolutely flying, and I go, and for a quick moment suddenly my power goes to zero right here because I hesitate, and then I go like, snap, I've got a teammate today, I have to close it, so I'm going all in. I'm going to chase this guy down. It's a cross headwind coming from the left, a strong easterly at about 37.1 k's an hour, and as we go forward and make a left, it will be a full-on headwind. I didn't know what was going to come. All I knew is that I had to be a good teammate. I had to save this race and not let this guy escape. It is race day, Qdale crit, and it is actually very cold. Maybe it's because I had the heater on in the car, and when I stepped out, I feel like I'm freezing. Okay, a few different things happening today. One, I'm riding in the neutral kit, not Parker's, because I am riding with, at least the plan was that I would have teammates today. They don't have the Parker's kit. It's riding with Midland today. I don't know if they've got a kit for me, so I've come in neutral kit. I'm cold. I am number 103 today. 103. And it is very gusty, so 37k an hour gusts, so it'll make it very interesting up the finishing straight. I've also chosen to use my Shimano S-Fire shoes. They seem to be really comfortable. I haven't raced in them before, I must say, but choosing to do so today just cause. Okay, I've also got my nasal dilator. This is my Mute. Goes in like that. Oh yeah. Helps me to breathe really easy. Sorry you guys can't see it. There you go, much better. Dilates my nostrils, prevents them from collapsing when I breathe in hard. The camera doesn't want to stay up. That's alright. Another thing today as well is because it's getting more humid. I'm sorry for all this camera moving everywhere. Because it's more humid, I've also gotten my mitts on, and this will be something that I will probably be wearing for the next few races. Just because my palms start to get sweaty or wet. I think the sweat rolls down my arm and gets to my palms, and that's really annoying because it makes it really yucky, a little bit slippery, a little bit yuck. So mitts it is. Hopefully better grip too. Cycle eyewear for today, and it's this pair again. I think it's called the Handlebar, the one with the gold. Love it. Okay, I'm just going to set things up. I've got my transponder on. Bike is here. Everything is good. Alright, I'm gonna go for a bit of a warm-up and then take some photos. A lot of races out there today for B grade, and I'm expecting a pretty good field for C grade as well. Now, the thing about B grade today is this: there is a gap that has been growing. It was like a minute 05, minute 10, and now it's stretched past a minute 20. I wouldn't be surprised that before the end of this race, the B grade guys would basically catch up with the tail end of the B grade peloton. In fact, the guys are just coming up the straight right now. It's a pretty strong headwind for them. Right here, we got Unicorn represented, Midland, Dome, and Oasis. So four different teams in the break at the moment, and in the B grade Peloton, no one's doing the chasing. The break's gone for sure. For sure. There's only about 20 minutes left in the race, and pretty sure one of those guys are gonna win. Got a couple of good sprinters in there, and I think Midland could stand a chance. Midland could stand a chance with Ben, or also known as Puffy. We'll see. It is race time. So the B grade guys, the break one. Massive gap. So congrats to the winners. I think I saw Doug go past the finish line first, with Ben, Puffy in second. So this is C grade and A grade. Here we go. We've got Jody racing C, which is great. Always good to have the women around. Yeah, let's see what happens today. Welcome back to another race video. This is from last week. Today's, as I'm recording this, is the 21st of March, but this race happened last week. I believe it was on the 16th of March. This is a Cat 3 race, also known as a C grade. We will find lots of familiar faces here, and also a few new ones. Now, a few things have changed on the screen. I've taken away the dynamic map on the top right. The map on the left-hand side is still there. The distance covered at the top, total distance covered in this race was 31.5 kilometers. This video is a long one, so strap in tight, get a drink if you're on the trainer. Maybe you can even follow me. So if I'm cruising, go easy. If I'm sprinting, put the power down. Yeah. So today was a very, very windy and gusty day. Windy and gusty, 37.1 kilometer winds, and we've had gusts as well. And so it's an easterly. If you look at the map on the top left, the wind is basically coming from the right to the left. So right here on this back straight, it is a tailwind. Turning left, it'd still be sort of a cross tailwind, and then as we head up the start-finish straight, which is the bottom straight, if you're looking at the map, that would be a cross headwind, and then another cross headwind as we enter, go past turn 1. So this is turn 3, and we're coming to turn 4, the final turn into the start-finish, and basically that will be going into a bit of a headwind. So the wind will be coming basically, if you're looking straight here as we're going, slightly left to right. So that's why everyone's on the right hand side. They're trying to ride everyone into the gutter. Alright, where shall we start? This is Cat 3, and at the beginning of the race, what I was saying is that I was told by one of my new teammates, and I'd like to do a shout out to the Midland Cycling Club for inviting me to race with them. It's a genuine privilege and honor to race with you guys. Yeah, lots of heritage and a cracking team as well. I've got a teammate in this race. It's just the two of us, Mark Cherryman, and Mark is in the black and white Midland kit, and I'll point him out later on in the race. Now, as you can see, Unicorn rider in front, number 120. He usually rides in B grade. He's down in C. Not sure if he is recovering from something or just planning to sandbag today, but eventually he would take the win. Now, that's not really a spoiler, because the rest of this race I want you to watch. I'm really proud of this particular race and this race footage, because to me, even though this race to a lot of people was a lot tougher than the previous week's race at Bibber Lake, everyone was saying, oh, the race this week was really hard, really tough. But I felt it was actually easier. And if you compare my heart rate and power numbers to the last one, which was a Bibber Lake, you notice that my heart rate is about 10 BPM on average, lower than the other race, and that is due to a few things. Number one, properly applying tactics to the race. So what do I mean by tactics? Well, at the very beginning of before we started the race, I was told by Puffy Ben, who's on the Midland B grade team, that follow the unicorn guys, follow the wheel of number 120. If he goes, just go with him. If he doesn't, don't worry about it. And so the game plan for the whole race was to follow wheel 120, and that's the wheel right in front. I accidentally left a bit of a gap here. I had to chase back on, but 120 would be what I would be fixated on the entire race. Now, things don't always go as planned, but what you want to do is try to stick to the plan as much as possible. Wasn't in the most ideal of spaces right here because the wind was coming left to right, and slowly I would make my way to basically try and get a good draft. Heart rate's in a good space, and as you see, as I mentioned earlier, every time we get onto the bottom, the start finish, this straight and turning left here, the speeds will drop down dramatically, low, mid 30s to high 30s. So one thing that I realized as I was following this wheel is that when you have a game plan, and when you know which wheel to follow, because you want to follow a wheel that will be in the final sprint or will be up there at the front at the end of the race. So it takes a few races, or it takes someone who knows the races to actually know, okay, this is the wheel to follow. Because if you follow a dud wheel, what happens is that you get chucked all the way back, and then you get spat out the back end because the wheel you followed was really bad. A couple of wheels that I thought today was pretty good would be a guy in purple and a guy in black. I believe his name is Neil. And those will be a few wheels that I'll be following. But this is still early days. We're just 4 kilometers in. Heart rate is still nice and low. Really good zone. I am very happy. My cadence is also pretty good. Right up there, just about 90. I am not too fussed about getting to the front. If you realize, I am sticking to 120's wheel because 120, unicorn right in front, has got teammates, and he's doing exactly what a good, well, they are doing, rather, the whole team is doing exactly what they should do, keeping their sprinter out of the wind. Here the wind is coming left to right. Not sure why the guy at the front is going left, because he's giving everyone so much opportunity to just save power. But here we got the Cervelo. We've got on the right here we got Chris from KCRCC. Shout out to you, mate. On the Dogma, I get pushed out here a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I get nice and low, very aero, and well, 300-400 watts for a short time. That's absolutely fine, although it's not ideal. But we are pushing almost close to 40 km an hour up the straight into the wind. Try to find shelter here. And number 116, Chris is actually a pretty good wheel to follow because he was up there at the end as well. And here, as you can see, 120 is in front. A few guys have come up to the front. I slowly make my way close up to the front because I do not want to lose the wheel of number 120. The guys are in front, they're talking. Wind is coming right to left right now. And it's a bit of a tailwind. And the guys are just speeding up. I am still holding because I know that the unicorn guys will bunch up together later on. It's still early days, don't have to worry too much. As long as I'm in the top view or the front group, I will be safe. And that's something that I also learned on a few different podcasts, including the podcast by Trainer Road. where they interviewed Corey Williams of Legion back then. And one of the tips that he had was to stay up in the front third. That was also a tip that was given to me by Puffy and a few other guys as well. A shout out to Nick Tan as well. And here I realized that I am getting too far behind. I want to jump up close to the front. I pop into the front and slot myself in. Now, getting around the corners into the headwind, I found that if I could get the momentum around the corner, it was much easier to actually get back on the wheel instead of having to waste a lot of energy sprinting all the way up. Here there's a guy who wants to come in, and I just tell him, hey mate, I wanna get home too. He was pushing me a little bit close to the gutter, and something about this course, you can see there the drains there's a bit of a hole, so if you go there at speed you could actually pop out. And this is the guy here who's pretty strong. You would see him, you saw him in the introduction where he made a crazy attack just at the bell lap. So this guy in the purple kit here, purple kit on the Trek Madone, he was actually following the wheels pretty good, and so he was also taller and larger than I was, so I thought he would be a good draft, and so I decided, alright, I'm gonna stick with him. There's a guy in the black kit at the front as well. I believe that is Neil, and I would also follow him. These three guys seem to be pretty clued in, and Chris would actually move up to the front and eat a lot of wind during the race. He is a pretty strong guy. Don't look at him and say, oh, that guy doesn't look fit. He's got the motor. He's got the motor. That's all I can say. Interesting. The frame rate of the camera matches the speed of the guy on the front right, the purple. And it looks as if his wheels are not turning. The spokes are like stuck. That's interesting, eh? And so here I noticed that I'm getting pushed back again. It's 7 kilometers in. Still early days. It's still a bit hectic. It hasn't really settled down as yet, and everyone's trying to make their way to the front. It's still fairly compact, and so I'm not stressing at all. Neil in the black skin suit on the left starts to make a move. I pop in behind Chris, and the wind is still coming from the left. I found that in a cross headwind you can stay slightly behind. You don't have to do any echelons at all to still be able to conserve energy, so that's pretty good. Ideally you want to be totally out of the wind, but when you can't, you can't. And there's a good thing as well. Essentially place yourself rather in a position where when you get into a corner, when you come out of it from the corner, you'll be able to find shelter really easily. And so that was what I was doing. The pace has lowered a little bit, and that's like 8Ks into the race. So we're about just under 1/3 ways into the race, and as you can see, things start to slow down. And that's exactly what I found. If you can survive the first bit of the race, you'll be able to rest, because people can't go full gas non-stop. And that's Ricky from A grade. He should have gone on the outside. So mate, that guy's really fast, but he really should have come from the outside, overtake from the right, or maybe shouted to us to stay somewhere, but he didn't. He just appeared. And so here the guys at the front actually attack, and I quickly jump onto this guy's wheel because he seems to be trying to close the gap. I want to save as much energy as I can. He moves out, I think expecting me to try to well, stick it in bridge, but he's doing a good job. I want to stay as fresh as I can, because as you can see, people attack with the wind. And one of the things that I've learned as well is, if you're going to make an attack with a tailwind. Attack with a tailwind, because it's so much easier to make use of whatever mattress you have to propel yourself a lot quicker and then into a headwind where you burn yourself out totally. And here, doing stupid watts just to get back on, but thankfully, because I am in this guy's draft and because the wind is coming from the left, it's good. Unicorn goes off again. I hang back a little, short little conversation, and I still try to save my energy by staying on the right. Remember, the wind is coming from the left, so everyone being on the left hand side, I have no idea why. I'm just cruising up on the right on the wheel, so very, very happy. Slow down to very, very slow 30 k's an hour. My cadence has gone down as well because everyone seems to be cruising. That first attack must have been an opener. Yeah, just get the legs going, but I take a look back and everyone is still there. This attack hasn't caused any major breaks at all. Riders coming up from the right, but I believe that is it A grade? Yes, it is A grade. And the story of A grade was basically Ricky riding off and everyone else chasing. He would eventually win. That guy is so strong, and the funniest part is he rides to feel. So he's like old school. He's not that old. He's probably in his 40s, like myself, but he's old school in the sense that no power meter. Yeah, no power meter, no heart rate monitor. He just rides by feel, and he just wins. He just rides away from everyone. That's something I would like to do. Like, I would like to get strong enough to do that. But for now, I am honing my racecraft in Cat 3. I've moved up from Cat 4, Cat 3. I'll be moving up to Cat 2 soon. Very excited too, actually. So that's really cool. Now, notice I am still trying to keep myself at the front. I am in 6th or 7th wheel right now, and I saw this guy coming up on the outside. I was like, okay, that's fine. I will let him. So I can't really see his number, but let's just call him Grey Top. Grey Top. So Grey Top goes, and I sit behind him. I'm actually really thankful everyone's moving to the left because I can get good cover and good draft. As you ride on in the race, you can get a feel of whose wheel to follow and whose wheel to not follow. Who are the strong riders and who are the ones who are just hanging onto the coattails, trying to get through the race or just conserving energy with the goal of pretty much just finishing the race without contesting the final sprint. Heart rate here goes up to about 170. Not the most comfortable, but still very alright. Tempo zone. Back into the headwind, everyone's taking cover. And I am just keeping myself up with the front group. So a good place to be is really the front third. I would say 5th, 6th, 7th wheel, you're still alright, but don't try not to get back too far, because if the front goes off, there's really no chance. Once the elastic snaps, it's really hard to chase on, and that has happened to me on occasion a couple of races ago where I had to try to pull back, claw my way back to the front. That was absolutely insane. Wasted all my matches. And so here I found that following this guy on the Trek Madone, purple top, was really good. Chris is coming up on the outside again. Man, that guy's a bit of a machine. The unicorn guys are still ahead, and once again without fail, with the tailwind, they are sprinting again, trying to get round to turn number 4. Back up the straight one more time, and I'm making sure that I can stay with the guys. Another attack going up the front, and I decide I'm gonna go, but I'm not gonna close the gap. Same thing again. Think. Don't overreact. We are only 12 k's into a 31 kilometer race, and if I can save energy, I will. Purple Top decides that he's gonna pull, and I sit on his wheel. Look at the amount of watts I'm doing. Not that much. My heart rate is up to 177, but still very, very manageable. Unless I see the guy in front of me fading, I will not go. So I was trying to be as disciplined as I could, and sure enough, he drags me back to the lead group, for which I am super thankful. Everyone's back together, and as you can see, Chris on the outside, I don't know what kind of watts he was doing, Chris from KCRCC, but he just rode his way up to the front. It could be that the guys at the front slowed down, but yep, he's off at the front. And here I'm sitting behind, and these two guys at the front start talking, and they'll continue a conversation together. Sort of like, I think they were planning to work together or something, because I think they realized that, hey, this is a wheel I can follow, this guy's strong, I can follow, and that's pretty good. Alright, something else I should let you guys know that has changed as well for this race. I put liquid carbs into my bottle, liquid carbs together with sugar, and so I would take a sip of this every 2 laps. So every 2 laps I would take a sip when we were going down this back strip with the tailwind behind, and right here I would take a sip as well and relax a little bit. As you can see, I've dropped back pretty far, but I'm still okay with it because it's still pretty compact. And look at that beautiful scene there, the plane flying across. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's almost like you're playing Zwift, and then you see the plane coming up. And here, before the last corner, I want to make my way closer to the front. And I force myself on the outside to the right because I know the wind is coming to the left. So once again, hiding, you can see I'm doing very, very little watts. Just freewheeling, really, because, well, there's so much draft, I'm just being pulled along. And even when pushing, it's only in the 200s, so it's still very, very comfortable. Everyone is together, it's not strung out. I'm sitting in a nice position. I can see the unicorn guys in front. The old mate here on the Cervelo from South Perth Roulers, he always finishes the race. So if you're racing here in Perth and you see this guy with the golden Cervelo, he's a good wheel to follow, because he's always there with the front end, even till the end of the race. He doesn't really contest the sprint, but he's up there in top 10, always without fail. So very, very consistent rider. The other rider that is very consistent as well is the guy in the BMC, number 106 over there, yellow and grey top, 106. He's also very, very consistent. So these are a few good wheels to follow if you are racing here in Perth. One of the beautiful things about racing regularly is that you get to know the different riders, you know who's who, you know which wheel to follow. This is the second race where this guy in the skin suit has been there, and so I sit up and I know that this wheel is really good. Oh, almost forgot. This race had 2 preems. So a preem is when the whistle goes, and the first one across the line after the whistle blows wins a cash prize. And so there would be 2 sprints over here. Now, something that Ben Puffy told me was like, when we're talking about preems, he said that winning a race is better than winning a preem. And so winning a race, you got more glory, is cool. And so I told myself today, I am actually not going to try for a preem. I want to save my legs for the final sprint. Mark Cherryman, my teammate, is behind, and everything is good. I'm working for him essentially, and so I have to be a little bit selfless today. Not think for myself, think of my teammate. And that changes things a little. It also takes away a little bit of stress, you could say, because I don't have to worry about me trying to finish first, second, third, get a podium kind of thing. It's more like I want to make sure that I can take care of my teammate, cover any attacks, and if I get a chance to sprint for the finish, I will. And so it's halfway through the race. The whistle hasn't gone as yet, and everyone's actually still wondering whether it's going to happen or not, because there are 2 preems. There are 2 opportunities. I think the price is like $50 or something, so it's something, you know. You can actually go have a half decent meal, or you could always take the money and put it back into the club. The pace is eased off a little bit. The wind is strong, you can't really tell. Maybe if you look at the trees, you can see the trees swaying, and that's an indication of a strong wind. Sitting behind this guy here and feeling very comfortable. I'm still in the top few, so I am not stressed at all. The only thing I'm looking at is whether the gap is going to grow. If the gap's going to grow, I'm going to jump across. But so far, so good. Everything seems to be fine. I'm on top of it. My heart rate is still in a good space. Temperature is nice. Speed is good. Cadence is good. And I'm feeling good. Have another swig of a drink. Get those carbs and sugars in so that I am nice and hydrated. And not just hydrated, but I keep the carbs in. Chris goes up again. This is like the 4th time he just comes past me and goes to the front. And he will continue to do that till the end. So kudos to you, mate. I don't know how many times I'm going to mention your name, but every time you come up, yeah, I mention your name. The pace is starting to lift once more as we enter the final corner. Turn number 4. And I find myself still in the top pointy end of the race, but a few wheels further behind than I would really like to. This is a chance now. That's Mark Cherryman coming up on the left, making his appearance. We've got the Unicorn Boys here, and I pick a wheel to follow. Still nice and sheltered on the right hand side. If I was at the front, I would have literally just gone straight to the gutter and make everyone hurt, because they were giving everyone basically a free ride. Look at my watts, like so low. Absolutely comfortable. I'm in 5th or 6th wheel right now, feeling very happy. Turning and feeling the full force of the wind almost. You can see the number of watts going up. And he goes. I do not chase. I keep my cool because the Unicorn Boys haven't gone. And that's important. Now they're going to feel a threat because Purple Guy's gone. I think they were talking about it doing a 1-2. But the Unicorn guys are sharp, sees it. And this is where I have to burn my first serious match. It's a pretty long chase. But everything comes back together pretty soon. He realizes he can't get away, and soon everyone is back together. A little bit of a scare, but nothing too big. Nothing too big at all. The 2 guys at the front, Purple Top and Neil, look back and go like, everyone's still here. I purposely leave a gap because I don't want to be in 3rd wheel. The difference being in 3rd wheel and 4th wheel is so huge. The Unicorn guy comes in, I also leave a gap and force him to come in and close the gap. One thing I've learned over the last few races is if you get too far to the front, you're wasting a lot of energy, and criteriums are all about saving as much energy as you can, being as conservative as how else can I put it? As efficient, that's the word. And so I forced myself to stay in the 4th wheel or less. Things you can do, you can pretend to be tired, you can pretend to be worn out, or you can just stop pedaling, cruise and leave a gap for someone to close. Because remember this, the people behind you don't want the gap to open up as well, because once it opens up, they have to cover it if they wait, and they're going to be burning their matches as well. As you can see, I always try to stay on the right hand side as we go up the start finish, and that gives me lots of good cover. Not just good cover, keeps me efficient through the race. 18.2 kilometers in, and things are still going very, very smoothly. My heart rate's a little bit higher because of that earlier attack, and yeah, it is going higher. Mark comes up to the front. I was actually wondering why he's going to the front, but Mark just come back from injury, or actually illness, and so there he goes. He goes to the front, chatting with the guys. A grade comes past. That's Ricky once more. And if you look, so Ricky is actually ridden off the front, and so he goes and he disappears into the horizon, and the rest of A grade hasn't really come around. Crazy huge gap, I must say. A grade will only come around like a lot later. I've seen Ricky do this a couple of times now, and yeah, it's really impressive because the A grade guys are quick. So everything's come back together. My teammate is in front. I can relax a little bit, just sit on the wheel, and I would choose 1:07 for the rest of the race. 1:20 was behind, and maybe if there's one thing I think I could try would be to actually sit back a little bit further to see how things go. The only real issue with sitting at the back is that the further back you go, the more watts you expend, because the reaction time at the back is just like when you're in a traffic jam. The car in front goes, then there's a split second before the next car goes, and next car goes, and everything stretches out really, really far. And before you know it, you are actually pushing out stupid watts to try to get back up to the front. And so for me, efficiency was the name of the game today, and so far it has been working out really, really well. 90.5 Ks in, going past the start finish again, and feeling really good. Choosing a good wheel to follow. I guess I'm blessed in the sense that I have a smaller frame. I'm smaller, and doesn't have a problem. The A grade guys again come through the left. I actually can't remember if they're supposed to come from the right or come from the left, because I think we're supposed to stay left and they go out, they come across from the right. But in this race it was confusing. They came in from on the inside, through the corners, through the straights. It was a bit messy. I think things can be improved there, but thankfully when it comes to Masters racing, this kind of thing, when it happens, everyone's usually pretty chill about it. We have a good laugh about it later, and then say, don't do it next time. So down the straight again, I am still thankfully in the pointy end of the race, and that's where you want to be. Criterium racing, it's pretty much like that. You want to make sure that you're at the front. The two boys at the front talk again, and I think they are coming up with some plan. Now Cam won podiumed, I think, second place at the last race, and so I know that he has got the legs to go. He's just come into racing. This is his second race, I believe, but I think he should be up to B grade very soon. Conversations going on. The speed is nice and slow. It's very slow for the back straight with a slight tailwind, and then it starts to pick up. Things get strung out a little bit. Speed picks up a little bit as well, and we go into turn number 4. Mark Sherman, my teammate, is at the front, and I'm just cruising. I'm thinking, well, if he's gonna be at the front, all I got to do is just make sure that I stay behind, and stay behind, and when the sprint comes, sooner or later, this is going to be my chance. I'll be able to actually go for glory. 158 BPM, mid 200s for power, feeling super comfortable. And as the race was going on, and that's the whistle for the preem, and so with the preem lap, people were making their way up to the front. And as they made their way up to the front, I reminded myself, okay, Nat, you got to stay up close to the front, but I'm not gonna contest the sprint, so Nat, don't contest the sprint. Stay calm, and let them go. Find a wheel to be able to close it up. And so preem lap, you can see everyone's slowing down because number one is the headwind, number two, they're saving their legs a little bit for the sprint. I was really curious to see when people would go. As you can see, we just went past turn 1. Turn 2 is coming up very soon, and everyone is still very, very chill. Neil's just taken a swig of his drink, and you can see guys coming up on the right hand side. This is a preem lap, and everyone starts to go right now. Speed is picking up. There are guys who want to win the cold hard cash. I'm just sitting behind, making sure I don't get dropped, and this is where I was like, okay, Nat, concentrate here, keep the concentration, because you don't want the guys to go sprint. Sprint for the preem, create a break, and then have a breakaway group established. Speed's going up here, and as we turn left, we get a good strong headwind, and people are really starting to sprint. They want to get to turn 4 as quickly as possible, because if you're in the top 3 at turn 4, you got the best chance of actually getting there. I was getting thrown back pretty far back, and so I went up, wanted to make sure I was there with them, and here they go for the sprint. I'm still trying to keep it chill, let them roll away as long as the gap doesn't grow too big. And this guy on the left comes up. I just stay slightly behind him just to make sure that I save my energy. Purple guy comes round, purple top comes round, and I go like, all right, free ride. Gray top comes round as well. Slotting on in here. The speed is still pretty high. The wind has picked up. You can see the jersey of the unicorn rider on the right just fluttering in the wind. And everyone comes back together. Heart rate is up to 171. Not too bad. Not ideal. I would love to keep in the 160s, because 160s is where I'm really still pretty relaxed. For those of you who are wondering, yes, my maximum heart rate I've gotten this year is about 201. So I know I can push it up, but that is really, really insane, and I really don't want to push myself all the way up there. Staying with the front group, I still choose this wheel. Happily letting purple top come in, number 114. And when he comes in, I just stay there and enjoy. There you go, his name is Matt. So Matt, purple top Matt. I was just complimenting him on the kit, because yeah, purple I think is the new in color. If you notice as well, after the preem, everyone's sort of relaxed a little bit, because they've come around, they sprinted, it's been mad for a little while, they want to chill out a little bit, get the heart rate down, and so everything has come back together. I realize that I'm a little bit far back than I want to, about 10th wheel, and that is not ideal. Everything is still nice and compact, it's not strung out yet. People are still riding 2 abreast, so I just go up and I go like, hey, I'm gonna actually come up a little bit. So Matt, or Purple Top, this was his first race, and I actually didn't know this was his first race, but the way he was racing was really pretty smart as well. You could tell that he's a pretty strong rider, the way he chooses to go up to the front anytime he wants. Mark is over there on the left, my teammate MCC Kit. He's eating wind, and I am just chilling over here, trying to get as much cover as I can. The wind is super strong, and I realized that it was a camera in front, and so I was doing like peace signs, heart signs. Very cool. Number 105, if you've got footage of all of that, that'd be absolutely amazing. I'd love to have a look at what I was doing behind you. But here, as we're going 24Ks now, The second preem would be coming soon. I'll be expecting it to come soon again, and the madness would happen once more. As you can see, things are nice and slow once again. Even my cadence is down, and it just shows how during a criterium you have ebbs and flows where it's really frantic, and usually the first 15 minutes is really frantic. Everyone's super excited. Chris goes up the road again. That boy, I don't know what to say, man. If there was a prize for the most combative, maybe he would get it. I don't know. But here we go on the back straight, tailwind. Speed picks up once again. I'm still in a position where I'm happy with, because I know that purple top Matt is still there. Got this guy in the black skin suit. He is still here. The main guys who usually finish at front are still in it, and that is a sign that things are still okay. It hasn't gone crazy, hasn't gone hectic yet. Everything will be good. Check my heart rate. My heart rate is nice and good, 156 BPM. Speed is still good. I am still in a relatively good position as we come into turn number 3. Going into a turn and making sure that you're still in the draft of and close to the wheel in front of you is really important. And I took the opportunity here to try to close the gap. I noticed that gap was building up. I went out and just brought myself a few places up, and that's what I realized, that if I want to make sure that I am up there with the top guys, I need to make sure that I spend the matches I need to. And Mark Cherryman's right here. He's right behind. I sit behind him. Teammates there. There's an attack by Unicorn guys trying to pull away, but Mark is absolutely all over it, and so I just sit on his wheel and chill. I'm sitting in 4th wheel now. The guy at the front attack, that's top left. As you can see, the Unicorn guys are closing it down. Mark is right there, and they're riding in a good space, the gutter, because they want to make sure that if people try to follow, well, they're gonna have to try as hard as they can. Attack by Chris, I believe, was closed down, and he sits up because he realizes that he hasn't really gotten anywhere. It's 25.8 Ks in, almost at the end of today's race. Coming there, looking down at the time, realized there was only probably about 10 minutes left in the race before the +2 laps. Chris sits up and slows down. Everyone sits up as well. Neil is right there. Mark is right there in front of me. And off Chris goes again. That man has rechargeable batteries that charge really quick, like the new BYD batteries, hey. He's up at the front. The Peloton is still chasing. Unicorn guy slips into 4th wheel, and I am back here again behind 105. I go past because he's creating a gap, and I go jump back onto 121. 121 provides a really good draft, and it is good. That's the space I want to be in. Go past Chris, and it's another attack, and this is where I burn another match, making sure that I close the gap. And there is a split. I look back, but they're not interested in they weren't interested in trying to form a breakaway. Not with the Unicorn guy at the front. He wouldn't leave number 120 hanging. And so pretty much everyone comes back together. A grade. Ricky goes past one more time. This is like the 3rd time he's lapped us. So you can imagine how fast he's going. He's probably averaging 40 plus, low 40s into the headwind. He's a small guy. It's like a needle going through the wind, but still you need lots of watts to be able to get through. So props to you, Ricky. Props to you, mate. I want to get as strong as you. If you're on the juice, please let me know where to find some juice. Heart rate has gone up to low 170s. Not ideal, but we're coming to the end of the race. I look back and everyone is still together, although it is strung out, and I'm glad that I'm sitting closer to the front. A little bit high up the front, higher up than I want to, but at least I'm not third wheel. I would sit basically fourth wheel as a minimum in order to get the best efficiency. So far, my race has been pretty good, eh? I've been really proud of the fact that I could close the gaps when I needed to, not expend energy that I did not have to expend, and be as efficient as I can. I know that my average heart rate is a lot lower than the race from Bibber Lake. I've been fueling myself well during the race, and just playing it smart. Chris goes off again on the right. I think at this point people are like, we're not really going to chase. We may speed up a little bit, but we don't have to stress. Every time he goes, we can sort of catch. And so no one is panicking here, even though we're closing up to 28 Ks already, to the closing stages of today's race. Still feeling pretty sharp. My heart rate is still good. Speed is still good. My position, I am super happy with my position. I've lasted pretty well. I've done as much as I can to stay up at the front end of things, at the pointy end of things, and so far so good. So far so good. Mark is still at the front, and I think, wow, if I get the chance and if he leads me out, I could really put in a good sprint and maybe get a podium. Things are still cruisy. The wind has died off a little bit, and so going up here we get a little bit of reprieve, and being able to get through the start finish straight at a slightly higher speed was also really nice. But as we reach this corner, I don't know why the wind started to pick up again. The guys at the front started to slow down, and we take this corner really slow. I think this was the slowest point. A grade. Now you saw Ricky went past a long time ago, and so everyone's staying right here, or trying to stay right. One unicorn guy stays left, and A grade comes through. And the A graders don't come through as quickly as how Ricky actually went through. So it just goes to show how quickly that A grade rider was, that A grade rider, Ricky. A grade peels off away, and I still find myself in fourth wheel, sitting nicely behind 121. Mark, my teammate, is in front in second wheel, and it is 29 Ks already. I don't think we've had the second preem as yet, as I'm commentating. I haven't seen it yet. And to be honest, during the race itself, it was really confusing. All I was focused on was actually making sure I was in a good position. Chris comes up one more time on the right hand side. This guy, his energy, I don't know where he gets all his energy from. I should ask him as well. Hey Chris, are you on the juice too? If you got the juice, can you share some love, mate? And so we go through turn number 3, and I'm just waiting for this race to explode. I'm not sure whether it's gonna happen or not. And here, that's Chris. And actually, maybe there was only one preem. Chris, apologies for mistaking you for a different Chris, but at least I got your name right. Okay, this is the final lap before the bell lap. In terms of time, we had hit the allocated time for today's criterium and the +2, and suddenly on the left hand side someone shouts up. Mark is there, and I go like, snap, I have to close this because this guy is strong. He's been saving all his matches and he's really going for it. I held my best power for 5 seconds this whole year, over 1,000 watts. May not be much to some of you, but man, I tell you, it was a tough one. I had actually stopped pedaling midway through my sprint because I was wondering whether I should spend my matches or not, and I was like, you know what, my teammate's behind, I'm just gonna go for it and pull him back. And pull him back I did. He looked back, and I think he saw that the whole peloton was dragged up. with me, and so he wasn't too interested in actually pulling some more. So I decided, all right, I'm gonna go to the front. I'm just gonna keep the pace as high as I can. Mark is behind. I want to do my best for him as a teammate now. That's all I can do. I'm not in a position to actually recover because my heart rate's already high 180s. Chris comes up to the front again. I do another dig to try to stay on his wheel, and then the wheel that I was supposed to follow all day shoots past on the right, and I know, well, I've done my job for the day, but there's no way I'm gonna podium. 120 flies out on the outside at such a huge speed, and I'm hoping that Mark would actually follow. And a few seconds later, Mark goes there, his head is down, teeth gritting, and he's going. I try to go, but there are guys everywhere. Matt is there, all the other guys are there, and everyone's starting to go, and I'm fading. Absolutely fading. I've got nothing left. I spent my last match closing the gap the lap before, and I was like, Matt, I wish I was stronger. I wish I was stronger. You know how you get so frustrated because you can see that you could have podium, but you sacrifice and go all in anyways for someone else. And yeah, so that was pretty much my race. That goes Jody goes past, and I finish up in about 12th place. So not a top 10, but I get to finish, and Mark gets a podium. I am genuinely pissed at myself today. Was in a great position until the bell lap. I should have just relaxed and not attacked or not try to break. Burnt my matches way too early, and I had nothing left in the tank for the sprint. Lesson learned. I think I've improved from the last couple of races in terms of positioning, in terms of knowing when to go and not to go. But today was a classic example on what not to do in a crit. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Smash the like button, subscribe, drop a comment, man. What did you think about my race today compared to other races? Cheers and ciao for now.